Our universe is incredible, surrounded by mystery and beauty, and many of us have questions about our past, present, and future. October Hallam is an intuitive medium with over 20 years of experience. She has assisted people with discovering their path by understanding their past and connected the living to their loved ones who have made the transition. She is currently offering readings through Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, phone, and in person. You can reach her at theancientgift222@gmail.com. Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today, my guest is Anthony with Canadian Awareness. Before I bring him on, a couple of announcements. Coming March 11th, 12th, and 13th, we got Forbidden Knowledge News Con. We're going to have 8 amazing presenters. It's going to be online with a Rokfin premium membership, and you get the entire conference for only $10. Just click that link in the description or go to rokfin.com/FKN Plus. You're going to get the conference, you get all our premium content, and you get all the content from every creator on Rokfin, as well as our previous conferences. New episodes are always available free on Rokfin, Odysee, all podcast platforms, and limited on YouTube. Our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, is also the home of the Forbidden Knowledge Network. This is where we're featuring other podcasts from our wonderful community. Be sure to follow us on both of our Facebook pages, Instagram, and Twitter. All those links are right there in the description. Today I want to welcome Anthony with Canadian Awareness. He is authentic reptilian extraterrestrial contactee and channeler in Canada. He's providing suppressed insight on the interstellar intelligence and extraterrestrials' consciousness, spirituality and ufology, telepathy and channeling, and the fraudulent Galactic Federation's commands and councils. Anthony, welcome. How you doing?
How are you? How are you? Good to be here. Thanks for having me, my man.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you on. We spoke a bit the other day on my other show, which was actually just an experimental type show. May do it again, may not, who knows. But I was pretty blown away with the information that you were sharing during the discussion. This is going to be one of those shows that presents, I believe, so much information that we might have to do 2 or 3 parts, I believe. I just have an intuitive feeling because, man, it was very impressive, the stuff that you were saying. But to start with, you're a reptilian contactee and channeler. Now, correct. This goes in many different directions. It's like a onion that would take a millennia to unpeel. But let's start at the beginning with this. How did it start for you, and how did you experience contact?
All right, well, pull up a tent in a lunchtime and I'll tell you all about it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so my first extraterrestrial contact wasn't with the reptilians, not at all. It was with the Yahyels, the Yahyel hybrid race, 7th hybrid race that we have. There's Sasani, Players, Yahyels, and this originates back to the Zeta Reticuli program, was when their race was dying out, due to a variety of different things, 2 main things: pollution in the atmosphere and also inability to reproduce. So they seeked some help with cloning technology, and they kind of cloned a clone, and those clones end up dying. Zeta Reticuli end up dying, so they borrowed some technology from insectoid race and alpha Draconian race. They traveled back in their own time to our presence and started reproducing. They saved their race, type of thing. And then the new hybrid races really emerged, and there's 7 of them, and I'm part of a Yahyel hybridization program. Many people are. Trust me, there's millions of people that are out there, meaning our genetic material is taken while we sleep in the astral format, and from women and from men, and then children are reproduced. Hybridization programs really have been going on for a long time. So that's the very first being that I've ever met. He was a 4-foot male, Yahyel male, and he appeared in my bedroom. And it was first thing in the morning. I live alone. I lived in my old house, not this house. And he was right there next to me. And I thought I was dreaming, but the alarm is going off. I understand I got a busy day. So that was the first contact I had. And they kind of telepathically told me, hey, so listen, like, if you don't know who we are, we're real. Extraterrestrials real. And you're part of this program. So I said, okay. So I spent many years obviously getting to know this race. I mean, from regressions to meditations to channelers before I was a channeler. So that was my first experience. And then experiences after that really followed. But the whole reptilian thing occurred for me, at least. It's just that naturally already I gravitate towards that energy. And naturally already I have a very strong dominant energy. And I kind of gravitated toward their own energy and towards the concept of how they see things, how they see life, how they see ego, how they see fear, how they see human emotions, how they see corruption on earth, how they see tyranny and globalism on earth, how they see unfairness, how they deal with wars, how they really see everything that we kind of don't see, because they're able to see through different layers through us than you and I can see in each other. And the more and more I learned about the reptilians, obviously through reading books, through watching videos, through learning the material from other contactees and other channelers, eventually one day I said, you know what? What's the largest, most dominant race that exists within our galaxy? And that's the obviously Alpha Draconian Empire. And a friend of mine who's of one of the best trans channelers on the planet today, greatest channeler, Rob Garthier, the ET Whisperer from Detroit, Michigan. He's a channeler for a reptilian being from Capella, and the Capella race is called Yets, the hybrid reptilian race. And they channeled, or they had a suggestion that there's an extremely dominant race that wishes to come through and give a message to humans. And he channeled them for like 5 minutes because their energy is just too dominant for an average body to integrate the energy within. And the message was like music to my ears. I knew those are the beings that I'd like to connect to. And Rob was like, whoa, dude, like that's a war race. I said, I understand that. And this is how I started gravitating towards them, connecting towards them. And eventually we made that connection. And then that built, that took years, or I would say rigorous practices, really tremendous amount of rigorous practices and methods of connecting with them. First, it started obviously astrally in 4th density. And then we were able to go to 4.1 density and 4.3 density, and eventually to 4.7 density. And then when I started creating a connection with my 5th density layer, and 5th density layer of our soul is a physical layer, which is about 80% physical than what you are. I'm 100% physical. That layer is about 80% physical. And then we started connecting to the Theta Tauri race, which is the race that I'm talking about, through the 5th density layer. And then telepathy followed right after. Once I was able to remove human resistances, human fears, traumas, and heal a lot of things from the past. And I'm talking about previous incarnations, because that all gets carried through epigenetics. So eventually, when all the human resistances, main standard resistances, were removed through rigorous practices, more and more blackness disappeared, and the channeling aspect between my 3rd density, which is me, and my 4th density was established. And then I worked to get to the 5th density and 6th density. So this is the direct connection. All channeling must go through your soul, not through some antenna that someone says it's in their head. You know what I mean? So this is how I started to connect to reptilians. And then with that aspect, I guess in conclusion, I can tell you, when a human starts connecting to reptilians, what ends up happening is that surrounding and affiliated races of reptilians, off planet that is, start gravitating towards that human. And that happened to me. So I made really good friendships with a race named Teoto reptilian race, a bunch of different races from Boots constellation, Rigel constellation, or Rigel constellation, including Capella. And then the ultimate connection, I would say a partnership or a connection, came with the Alpha Draconian Empire. I entered a lot of their own astral related encounters, ceremonial type of things, tests where they test your fear, they test things to see your consciousness and sort of where you're at. And then some of the races within the empire, including the Sikar, including the Vortak, including the Morkul, including Skra, including Demon Ga, I was able to interact with them. But my priority, or I would say my main reptilian connections, which I proudly speak of, is with the Theta Tauri white reptilian race. It's a population of 100 billion. They occupy 4 regions. From a human perspective, we call it Theta Tauri. It's what NASA told us to say. They don't have that name, but they understand that's what we're referring to. So there's 4 star locations there, and this is really where they occupy. They're a war race. One of the members in the alliance of reptilians in our galaxy, where Alpha Draconians are also part of, and it's this like war alliance. Pretty much, you just don't fuck with them. If you're
Right
another
on.
race, you don't go by there.
Oh man. Okay, so there's so much that I want to explore about this. And first, I just want to say, Rob will be on my show next month. You
Oh yeah.
mentioned Rob Gaither,
Oh,
so thank
wonderful.
you for that connection. Looking forward to that one.
Absolutely.
Now, many of the guests that I've had that have had contact or abduction experiences with reptilians, most of them, I'd say about 80 to 90%, have had negative experiences, and I think that there is a huge misconception of what reptilians are, what the ideology, what their relationship with humans, and basically everything we understand about these races, I think is a little misconstrued. And I was hoping you could maybe set the record straight on, what these reptilians are and what is their interest in humans and relationship and things you were saying earlier. What's their views on war and politics and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Very complex question that fairly would require a complex answer if you would agree.
Sure.
For the
Yeah.
purposes of the interview, of course, just I'll have to elaborate then about 10 minutes. So I got to give you,
Right.
years of knowledge in 10 minutes, but we'll stick to the most important stuff. First, I'd like to say that, and real reptilian contactees know this, and real reptilian channelers know this, and humans that have connected to them telepathically or astrally will know this, is that reptilians are misrepresented on Earth. There is much more misinformation on reptilians than there is truthful information. And the misinformation, honestly, is being cloned every day. Like if you go to a YouTube right now and you Google channeling or extraterrestrial channeling or anything, you're going to probably get like 80% Pleiadian channelers, Galactic Federation of Light channelers, Ashtar Command channelers. But first of all, that's improper. How can someone call themselves Pleiadian channeler when Pleiades is a system? 2.5 billion races live there, including psychopathic, evil humanoid races and reptilians. So they don't really help to build the true appearance and the true history and explain the true origin, these channelers, about reptilians. They're not powerful enough. They're not strong enough. They don't have the courage. They have no idea how reptilian energy is even incorporated for them to educate someone else on the video, well, who are reptilians. So there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of fake galactic federations. Galactic Federation Light, complete fraud, doesn't exist. Ashtar Command, Jerusalem Council. So all these channelers that are thinking they're channeling these entities, no, they're channeling anti-reptilian type of beings who hate reptilians. But these beings will portray themselves as a beautiful Nordic blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl who calls herself a Pleiadian that's flying on this Ashtar ship. There is no such thing as Lord Ashtar. That's a fraud. And I can get into that history if you would like. So that's number one. And number two, I wanted to mention is that there's a lot of misinformation about reptilians. In relation to breaking that down, it's very simple. Look, first of all, on Earth, there's 800 million reptilians. Those are the Earth-based reptilians. They were two density beings, second density beings, and just like dinosaurs were. And then they were obviously evolved, their soul evolved. That's how densities work. And then they became a third density beings, like you and I are. They went into a fourth density, meaning they're still living here. It's just that our eyes don't see them. They don't see us, we don't see them, but they have the technology to be able to pop up whenever they want or open up portals or abduct. Most of the abductions are by Earth-based reptilians, not by Alpha Draconians. You think those guys, they're interdimensional, yes, but you think those guys have time to come and cloak their ship over your house just to take you? They don't give a shit about you. They don't care if you're white, black, Christian, Muslim, Jew. They don't care, Republican. They don't care about Democrat. They don't care about any of that. To them, we're primitive. So the abductions are happening with Earth-based races. And you go down to the base, they take your genetic material, they bring your ass back. That's it. Earth-based reptilians, honestly, they're custodians of this world. They really are. They've always been custodians of the world. Every religion talks about them. Every ancient text and description and engravings talk about them. You see a lot of different statues in the ancient history talks about that. I studied ancient history for a long time. I've done the whole pyramid videos, Sphinx videos. I've traveled the world to look at the pyramids. So I can tell you that reptilians are very real, particularly Earth-based. It's one family divided in three different hierarchy layers: middle, top, and the bottom. The bottom love humans, extremely benevolent, approximately 20%. Mid-range, 60 to 65% of that entire race are the neutral. They're the soldiers, they're the abductors, they're the go get some shit done and do this and do that. They do reconnaissance missions and recon missions. They're the ones that do shape shifting, and then they'll come up and mingle with us in a society, and you will not recognize them. The top 20 layer divided in multiple different parts, but 2 out of that 20 are the psychopathic ones. They're the ones that are in sync with all the globalists and the elites, and they give humans technology. I mean, human governments, like the cloning technology was given to United States government, and consciousness transfer. So this is how they're able to clone humans and then transfer the consciousness. That was given to them by Earth-based reptilians. Holographic technology used in September 11th of one particular area of the United States, that was also given by reptilians. So that's Earth-based. When we go off planet, Chris, you're getting into, oh God, hundreds of millions of different reptilian races. But obviously the most one that is disrespected the most on Earth is the Alpha Draconian Empire. The top of the empire that possibly exists. There's different empires. There's a bunch of different empires, and there's reptilian alliances and councils. The empire itself, the Draco system, is obviously the toughest that there is, the most dominant. There are approximately 20 races currently involved with the empire, and there's 20 to 40 sub races which are affiliated with the empire, meaning they're there almost on demand. They call them and say, come on by, these guys show up. In human terms, I'm explaining that. And the main top of the empire really controls our part of the galaxy. And the main top of the empire controls Earth-based reptilians. When you look at outside of the empire, there are hundreds of millions of reptilian races, but there are alliances. So we call them federations, we call them councils. There truly are reptilian alliances. I'm very familiar with a 20-ish or so, been educated to this information. There's 11,000 human reptilian hybrid races. So the reptilians are, I would say, 25%. They occupy 25% of our galaxy. 25%, 26 or 25% of the Pleiades, all reptilians. So when someone says I'm channeling Pleiadians and they don't tell you which race they're channeling, from what planet they are, what density they are, what's their connection to this human, what's their connection to their oversoul, what's their connection to them like this Earth here. Trust me, they're either making it up or they have no idea who they're channeling. So when someone says to me, well, who do you speak with? The reptilians. Man, I can give you a history on their planet. I can give you history on the Alpha Draconian Empire. You know, the most feared race really is the Cigar. I've had a chance to interact with Cigar 3 different times. And yeah, they're just as what what standard people describe them, exceptionally frightening. Same with other races like the Demon Ga, which are our history will teach us that they are the term called demons, the Demon Ga or Demona or Demoni. Well, Demon Ga is that particular race. Yeah, they're black reptilians, black eyes, black wings meaning they're ancient reptilian, they're pure Draco blood. So they're extremely frightening, and all of them are really frightening, really. But here's the best part. Best part is none of them abduct us. None of them come here and kill us and rape us and drink our blood and eat our babies. Those are lies. Those are absolute pure misinformation, Hollywood type of bullshit. And generally, these lies, from what I see, and all due respect, not to you, but like all due respect to the viewers that may be triggered by this, the reason why these lies are occurring is by those that don't even understand what the fuck reptilian energy even is. And they're spreading this information to get their fame, to get their likes, to have their more subscribers. And then they're usually the GFL, the cult, the New Age Love, Light, Unicorn, and Rainbow cult. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll tell you how to go to 5D Ascension to New Earth, where there's med beds waiting for you. Those kind of promises, those kind of lies, right? So when those kind of individuals will state things about a particular race of reptilians, they're making it up. They have no idea.
Now, how
that would be kind of a
that's a great base kind of description. I want to branch off in a couple of different areas. You said reptilian energy. How would you best describe what reptilian energy is?
Well, reptilian energy is, first and foremost, if you meet one face to face. Secondly, would be if you're integrating that reptilian consciousness into your own body to do trance channeling. Trance channeling meaning that they take over your body for a minute. Your body's just chilled and relaxed, and you're exchanging the consciousness. You go up, they come down. They speak through you. They obviously don't speak English. They don't speak German or French. They don't use words. Telepathy is standard. But what they do, they're able to energetically scan the vocabulary in your head, and then they're going to project their energy into your mind, and then your mouth opens up because of the muscles connected to your brain and the order that your brain will send to your mouth, and your mouth will open up and make a statement. If you said, for example, if you have a client in front of you, and the client says to me, who sunk the Atlantis? Well, I'm going to telepathically tell to the Theta Tauri who did that. Theta Tauri tells it to my mouth. My mouth starts opening up and explaining you how Atlantis was sunk. So that would be just one example. The energy itself, the best way to describe it is the actual sensation would be a combination of, and I don't want to promote drug use, but a combination of being high to combination of being electrocuted to combination of receiving some exceptionally amazing news in life, like that you just had a son and your wife gave birth, or that you won a lottery or something incredibly powerful. It's electric also. It's very electric. And when it enters your body, it generally enters to your top chakra, which is top of my head, and it goes down into my throat, it goes down into my heart, it goes into the shoulders, traps, muscles, and biceps. You feel it in the stomach. You're actually feeling the incorporation of someone that's from fifth density, sixth density, entering your third density body. So practices how to be a channeler takes a long time. And whenever I hear people say, oh, they jump online and say, yeah, guys, I just want to give you a quick message from Arcturians. Yeah, they say to hold your light, brothers and sisters. It's all bullshit. It's not how it works. That's not channeling. The grounding is important. Connecting to the grid's important. Clearing is important. And then obviously telepathic communication is important. And when you're doing all this, your mind starts getting ready. And then they enter slowly, and then they're able to speak through you. So you don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to be a UFC fighter or a boxer. Like, this isn't about how tough you are. It's just about a practice, feeling safe, confident, removal of all fears, and having previous experience for years, as I would recommend, in the astral. Person would need to master the astral really to stand next to a reptilian, because the vibration's too jarring. It's too strong. It's too magnetically strong. It's way too powerful than if you were to stand next to a Yael or a Pleiadian humanoid. So reptilians are exceptionally powerful, energetically speaking. We're not talking about their mindset. So the honor levels, the prideful levels, their opinions of fear, their opinions of you as a human. That's a whole different aspect. But energetically, I hope that answers your question.
Excuse me, my mic was off. Yes, it does. And I want to know if these beings, your contact, has it only been astral, or have you seen or been in the presence of these beings in physical form?
Yeah, so the Theta Tauri race that I'm connected to, they don't have ability to just show up in your living room for multiple reasons. First reason, I will give you the two reasons, if I may, just to shorten this. The first reason is that they are not connected to Earth, meaning they have no business on Earth. They don't give a shit what's happening on Earth. The governments, they don't care if you hate your neighbor and your neighbor hates you. If you are a murderer or rapist, they don't give a shit for human affairs. They care about a human connection. It's just that because they're not connected to Earth, being a war race, they don't have ability to just come up and show you. They can. It was offered to me. The reason why I didn't take it yet is because I live in a rural area in Canada, in southern Ontario, which is a province close to Niagara Falls, a very big tourist city. Well, we're surrounded by airports and we're surrounded by military outputs. And the interrogation and interferences by military and the police will occur if any extraterrestrial shows up in your house. The government will know. I can assure you that there's a department within every government that will know. That's number one. Number two would be that it would leave bruise marks on our skin. If they touch you, it will leave a bruise mark on your skin that lasts for a couple of weeks. So I said, listen, eventually, I think it's probably best we meet here on Earth in an area where not where I live. It's not in a residential neighborhood. And they agreed. And I'm not really in a rush for them to come down because I see them 5-6 nights a week in the astral. So the astral state is different than dream state. So the astral state, we all go to astral every night, our astral body, when your physical body shuts down. I see these guys pretty much everywhere now. So one of the first layers when your body starts shutting down, you're exiting the third density, you're going up to the fourth density. So you're climbing up, you're going to 3.8, 3.9, let's say 4, 4.1, 4.2. These are all the sub-density layers. This is where you fluctuate. This is where you go. I have ability to project to their ship. I have ability to project to them directly. I have ability for them to come down to my layer, just one layer above, the layer where Earth-based reptilians are at. So this is where we kind of play at night. Depends what I want to do, what they wish to do. So this is where we are meeting in 3 different zones, in these 3 different areas. The 4th zone, I've met them before, was in the Empire, the Thuban star system. Kalask lives there, Sikaar is there. And this is in an astral projected state, meaning literally you're ripped, not ripped, but you're removed out of your physical body. You're also pulled out of your dream. You're pulled out of your astral, because there's only two states of astral when we're defining the three dream layers, or three main dream layers. Third one being the template layer. So everything that's below that would be physical. These guys can go anywhere they want. So it all depends where I end up. So I project myself to this, and this is where they meet me. Or they'll come down to the fifth density or the high fourth, and they're able to pull me up and bring me up to assist me. I can actually give you, if you would desire to explain this best, I have a graphic to show you, if I may, in order for you to see how
turn on the screen share here. There you go.
All right, and I'll show you what I mean. So let me just turn mine on. Advanced, perfect. All right, it's just a 4-slide, but it'll explain your kind of question a little better.
Sure.
So this is a Theta Tauri reptilian, one of the members. Red eyes, they're 400 pounds. They're approximately 9 feet or so. They do have tails. They don't have wings or horns because they're not ancient, so they're not the Draconian blood. They're on their own independent race. The population is 100 billion, just over. They have 68 teeth. They have 2 hearts, one under each armpit. And if I was to go forward in my slides, this probably would describe it the best. So my body on the top left corner would be in my bed, meditative state, sleep state, out of dream state. So I would leave my dream and project myself to their planet or the ship, or in the meeting grounds in the 5th density layer. I go through my 4th and 5th density layer of my higher fractal consciousness to accomplish this. I'm not some magician that's doing it. I don't do black magic. It has to be done the right way, the way the soul wants it to work. My body then, which would be this human here in black shorts standing there, would be standing in an 80% than what you see me now. 80% dense. So I have 80% of me when I go and see him. He projects from his ship or his planet, which is the top right corner depiction. And then he will be able to meet me face to face on any planet, any dead planet, any alive planet where their race does not have conflict. So relating type of races. We can have conversation telepathically. He can educate me things, and they do. And I can get into the education and tutoring part. These guys are like experts on wars. They're experts on really everything that would have to do with human layers, human consciousness. So this would be another example how we do that, which is slide number 3. I think you'll be able to see it now. So this was actually shot in one of my videos. This depiction was created by my artist, my designer that makes all my art. And we visited one of the dead planets, and I was able to ask him, why are these stones this way, and why is there water on this planet? So generally 4, 5, 6 of them, sometimes even 10 of them will show up, and they'll take me there using their own technology to show me and educate me on an ancient war that happened on this planet, or wars between reptilians. The 4th slide, as I go forward, this would be generally a council. So every reptilian race has their own councils. These are the decision makers, and this is a depiction, only obviously a rendering of what the room looks like when I project myself there in the 5th density version. And it looks like a hologram, but it is not using any holographic technology. It's my 5th density soul layer. It's a very, very light blue color, this layer. I would appear in front of these reptilians. They're all white, obviously. They stand around this massive circle. This almost looks like a conference table, and they speak as one. So they can be 100, they can be 4. It's one telepathic message. We would have connection. So this is one of the meetings I had where they said, well, explain us human emotions. How can a human cry, and how can a human cry for sadness, and how can they cry for happiness? What's the difference? Why do humans poison each other? Why do your presidents do this? Why do your leaders do this? Shouldn't your leaders help humans to be stronger, better? Why is this tyranny going around the world? We see a lot of agony on earth. What's going on? So these would be type of conversations that we would have, and I hope that really kind of answers your question.
Man, that is so interesting. Let's get into some existential questions about our human race here. How would you say, how accurate is the Anunnaki mythos and things that have come out from researchers in that area, saying that, an off-planet race, the Anunnaki, tinkered with hominid DNA and maybe their own and created the human race? Is this at all accurate?
It's very close to accurate, not fully. So the Anunnaki topic, I think, is one of those topics, as well as What happened to Atlantis? Two topics that you can research for 100 years, and you're going to get a lot of different versions of the story. I can tell you, Chris, what would be a story that I resonate with, and that resonates with me really well, based on not just one or two or three extraterrestrial opinions. I've had opinions by different beings that are non-reptilian that were able to give me their side of the story. And I'll give you like a conclusion of it. So were the Anunnakis real? Yes. The black satellite we see over Earth? Yes, that's their satellite. It's real. There's 4. NASA just tells you about the one. In fact, I have a video in about a month coming on what is the black satellite. Really what it is, not what the internet says. Anunnakis were, think of them as very giant, tall beings. They were not 5'10". No, they're pretty big boys. Also, too, one of the most important things with the Anunnakis to understand is that Anunnakis were not just one race. There's a big misconception when a human says God versus gods, S at the end. Religions, man-made controlling fake religions, will generally take out the S and just say God. God is waiting for you. God was here. Those are mistranslations. The gods were here. The gods were here. There's every ancient text tells you about that. We all understand that. So people that are researching would understand that. There's some really good experts on the Anunnakis. Michael Tellinger is one of them. Dr. Samir Osmanagic, the founder of the Bosnian Pyramid, is another one. Eric von Dinkin, another one. This gentleman sold 60 million books. Graham Hancock sold 7 million books, an expert. Billy Carson, an expert. Zachariah Sitchin was really good. There was some mistranslations in his own books and texts, but these were top 5 names, I would say, that can educate you on the Anunnakis. The Anunnakis were also part reptilian. They were not just some humanoid that came with blue eyes and blue hair, you know what I mean? So Anunnakis were also reptilian. They came here, most people don't know this, but they came here 5 times. The first time they came here, they were assholes. They really took advantage of humans, and in a way that we were their pigs. They used us as lab rats, as lab pigs. They took off. Second time they came down, they got in a little bit of shit by the Elohim. So when they came down the second time, their second landing on Earth, Elohim came down with them and used some of their less beings that were in a less hierarchy level. So they used a gentleman or a being named Thoth, the real builder of the Giza pyramids. Giza pyramids were not built 5,000 years ago. That's an Egyptology lie. So they used Thoth and Ra to build the Giza pyramids. The blocks were brought from the 4th density. They were assembled on site. And then they sent Thoth all around the world to create the very same pyramids, same structure, same method. And most of them are located on latitude 30. So that's their second arrival. 3rd, 4th, and 5th arrival were not that important. They just came to look at some shit and have some arguments, and they took off. They've never been back. And they're not coming back. The Anunnaki story is real, 100% real, just like incarnation is real. It's just that they don't look the way we see them on the internet in these pictures of long beards. Some of them had long beards in the way. And this is why we see every religious prophet has a long beard. Jesus has a long beard. Muhammad has a long beard. Moses, Indian and Hinduism, we have a lot of pictures or depictions. This goes back to the Anunnakis. Anunnakis were not just the 2 brothers, the Enlil and Enki. No. There was plenty of them. There was also females. I actually know a guy. I don't want to mention his name. You probably know him too. He's a very spiritual guy, a brilliant author in the ufology industry. He met an Anunnaki female, Zachariah Sitchin. Reptilians told me that Zachariah Sitchin, the human that lived and wrote the books, he met, or a portal was opened up in his living room. An Anunnaki walked in. So there are some humans that do communicate with Anunnakis today through channeling, and some of them have met the Anunnakis to kind of straighten out the story. But are we a hybrid race? We're absolutely a hybrid race. You and I have 12 main genetic donations. If you break down those 12, there's up to 40, 25, 35, depends who. We have Draconian DNA. We have reptilian DNA. We have reptilian brain. All of these things are really hidden in our DNA. And our DNA is not as smart as a banana, as your internet says. There's a pig DNA. That's propaganda. That's nonsense. Mm-hmm. Why are we told that we came from monkeys? If I go to a zoo today, I see a monkey. He hasn't evolved. He's still a fucking monkey. So no. We've got to look at the history of the Anunnakis. We've got to look at the history of the Lyran Wars. We've got to look at the history of Lemuria. We've got to look at the history of Atlantis. We've got to see who attacked who first. And we got to see who sunk them. Same technology used to sunk Atlantis was used to kill all the dinosaurs. All of them. Every single one of them. So we got to look at these beings. How were they so powerful back then? And why were they all called gods? Why were they all called giants? Why were the whole story of giants removed from the Bible? Book of Enoch, other books, Book of Mary, and so forth. So Anunnakis were real. I've never met one, never connected to one. Honestly, I don't really gravitate towards it. Were they real? Yeah, awesome, great, cool. All right, what's next? Let me connect to races and extraterrestrial beings that I can benefit from. They can rewire my consciousness. That can activate DNA. They can raise my IQ. They can teach me things. I'm not interested in hold your light, brothers and sisters. That's all bullshit. That's GFL cult. Teach me something I didn't know. Astrally, take me to a planet where Anunnakis were at. Not Nessara, Gassara, those propagandas. That doesn't exist. That's just Illuminati talk. Take me to a planet. And I think a lot of reptilians now are being involved on Earth just because they're really trying to stand up for us. And I know that sounds shocking, and I understand that, but I'll tell you what I mean. There is so much hijacking happening on Earth right now with healers, with extraterrestrial talkers, authors of books, fraudulent channelers, fake channelers, is that certain races within the empire are getting pretty pissed off, very, very pissed off. And they're activating a lot of humans to be channelers, so trans channelers or non-trans channelers, or they're activating their telepathy. I mean, my email is blown up, and I really mean this humbly. I mean this very respectfully. My email is blown up at people that watch my videos because they're literally repeating what I just said in the video, or I have clients that I work with one-on-one. So, exiting them from the religious programming and religious conditioning, getting them into understanding. We have extraterrestrials, or interdimensional, extra-dimensionals. There's telepathy, there's teleportation, telekinesis, there's so they're emailing me saying, wow, like, I just met a reptilian, and Anthony, you're not going to believe it, in the astral, he told me that they're here. They wish to help us. They want to do this. They want to do that. And more reptilian beings are connecting with humans because they wish to educate us on true history, true galactic interstellar intelligence, but also to expose fraudulent channelers, fraudulent psychics that are literally using humans, innocent humans, every day for their money, for their energy, for this fake ascension. You buy their seminar for $100 and they'll teach you how to go to 5D. 5D, you haven't even fucking perfected grounding yet. In 3D, third density. How are you going to teach me to go to 5D? Have you been to 5D? You know what I mean? So reptilians are quite involved right now. There's about 600 races currently involved with humans on Earth. Big number, I know, big number, 600 races. So they're trying to teach you things. The point is, do you want to connect to them or not?
Okay, now the next question is, all these races are interacting with humans, and I asked you this the other day on my other show, and it was a kind of depressing answer, but it is what it is. I asked if we were ever sovereign, ever will be, if we were ever in control of our own destiny as humans, and you of course said not really, but I want to go in deeper into that and find out who is really in control. You said there's a bunch of races interacting, but who is pulling the strings and keeping us maybe as a lower density type race?
Yes, we would be generally described as third dimensional, 3D. You and I live in 3D. Here's 5D. Here's 4D. 4D can be described as time. 4D can be described as dreams or astral. But typically, I use the word densities. It's more accurate, it's more efficient, effective, and professional way of describing things. When it comes to densities, we're third density beings. Now, I can be spiritual enough, or you can be spiritual enough to consider yourself a fourth density being. Sure, mentally, spiritually, psychically, sure, absolutely. There's a lot of different spiritual people. The awakening's been happening for a long time, and I applaud these spiritual beings that are promoting spirituality. Wonderful. Some beings are so spiritual, so ahead of the game, that they are already operating on a fifth density level while living here physically, sitting in this chair in a third density life. It doesn't matter, Chris, whether you're a third density, fourth, fifth. It doesn't matter if you think Ashtar is picking you up tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you believe in the Satan, and even that word is fake. But it doesn't matter. The point is, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can collectively do to change the outcome of the timelines that are set for Earth. We cannot wipe out, shut up, eliminate, suppress, kill, destroy the real custodians of this planet Earth. If you want to call it a planet, if you want to call it a flat Earth, if you want to call it a rounding planet, it's up to you, but I'll call it Earth. No, you can decide tomorrow morning if you want to have a coffee or an orange juice. You can also decide whether you want to ask your buddy to go for a drink, or maybe you want to go hang out with your mom. You can decide to interview me today or someone else. Those are human things that we were given that. We were given that. We were given the incarnation. We were given the free will. But there's things about you cannot change, such as, for example, I'll give you another thing, ancestral fear. You cannot wipe ancestral fear because that travels through epigenetics for how many different generations, just like you cannot fix what's currently happening on Earth. We don't even have to mention these names, right, to have issues with podcasts and corporations, but whether you agree with what's happening currently on Earth since 2020, whether you don't agree, whether you want to get 9 shots or 1 shot, that's your perspective.
Yeah.
But you can't change that. No protest will change that. I personally disagree with what's happening in the world. That's my opinion, but we cannot change that. Just like you cannot change those globalists that are sacrificing and worshiping some of the most psychopathic demonic energies and consciousnesses that are connected to Earth. We can't change that. We were lab pigs back in the Anunnaki days, and today we're lab pigs. They're giving us stuff that's not verified and so forth. It's just one example. Staged events, you can't control. Wars, you can't control. I mean, come on. Look at Iraq, Afghanistan, Bosnia, Syria, Libya, unprovoked wars. So you can't change that. Can you change a timeline of Earth? You can't. Can you change the fact that AI is really taken over Earth? It's taken over our mind. The programming and conditioning of humans is at the all-time high. No, you cannot change that. So I don't think that we're going to be the ones saying, yeah, we evolved to the degree that we get to have a med bed in each house and we get to do things. No. It's not like that. This is an incarnation. It's a very ugly, dense, hard, difficult, emotional incarnation. So sink or swim. Figure it out.
Hey, that's very well said. And speaking of incarnations, what about after? What about after death? Do you believe that we have the choice to be an incarnation, maybe on a different planet, different race, different time?
Sure. Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, incarnation, reincarnation, same thing. So I'm going to reincarnate, or I am now incarnated as an. If I same terminology, it's very real. It's the mechanism of the universe, just like frequency is, just like telepathy is, the language of the universe. Incarnation is absolutely real. I can assure you, obviously, 1,000,000,000% that everyone you know in your life right now, Chris, your ex-girlfriends, present girlfriend, your future children or current children, mom, dad, neighbors, everyone that's maybe beat you up in high school, or people you've beat up, people you met on vacations, your priests, neighbors, cousins, dad, mom, every single one of them belongs to your oversoul. 3 layers to the soul. 3 layers to the soul. You have lower fractal consciousness, 20% of your soul sits next to your heart, a couple inches away. Higher fractal consciousness, 80% of your soul. They control literally every person right now in your life. They know who's who. They know me. They know you. They know your first kiss. They know everything. They know your previous lives. They know your future lives. There's no time up there. Only you and I have clocks. We have time. Oversoul, it's an umbrella of all of these souls. There's 144,000 oversouls, which would be more of a standard answer. But oversouls will have an idea of beings you've incarnated with that you have no idea, that you're gonna incarnate with, that you have no idea, including being an extraterrestrial. Really, like, you were not human for the entire existence of Chris. Today you're Chris. Last life, you might have been Mike. Last life before that, you could have been a dog, you could have been a tree, a cat, you could have been a Roman soldier, an Egyptian soldier. But that's just like 5 lives I just said. Okay, so you might have lived another 5, 10, 50, 1,500, 2,000. I mean, I got to know a lot of my previous incarnations, so I understand approximately amount of lives I've spent on Earth. But the rest of the time, guess who you are? You're an extraterrestrial. That's why you have assigned for life extraterrestrial galactic guides. I have 2 guys from Pleiades, a humanoid and an aquatic being. I have a guy from Sirius A. I have 2 different reptilian beings, one from Boots, one from another constellation, which I don't want to disclose. So there's different beings that are assigned to you. How? Why? What do they just get an email and say, hey, there's a guy named Chris that's going to go to Earth? No, these beings know you. You were part of their society. You were part of their own race. And because of your relationship with them, they have volunteered and they've been told to now be your guide. You want to connect with them? That's what the astral's for. You don't want to take the practices to get to the astral? Start reading. Start reading, start expanding your awareness and growing outward. Otherwise, you're going to be programmed in this life to watch Netflix for life. Yes, yeah. Incarnation is quite real. Absolutely. Yeah. So after you die in this life, and I hope you live a very long time, hope I live a very long time, there are a thing called exit points. Extraterrestrials use a term called exit points. Exit, like an exit door. They don't use the word death because to them, death is the most stupidest word that exists. It's a primitive word. There is no death. Mm-hmm. We are always living. It's just that we're changing bodies. Our soul is immortal. So they don't even like to use word death. Man. So when you die, your body, your soul is going to exit through your crown chakra. It'll take 30 human seconds from a perspective of a human for you to go and hit to the end of the tunnel. There are certain points that are going to occur at that tunnel. You're going to see some holograms. And don't get off at that point. Don't get off at the hologram. No. You want to go right back home. You're going to take a few months, human perspective. So human time, few months it takes for you to get accustomed up there now and report back, what the fuck did you learn on Earth? And your soul, your higher fractal consciousness, let me give you another fact. You don't just incarnate now as Chris. They have you incarnated in multiple lives. Now, right now at the same time. So currently we're in 2022, right? And let's say you were born in 1975 or 1980. They're not going to incarnate 8 different humans on Earth, all born in 1980. No. Please have an open mind when I say this, Chris, just for a minute. When I say multiple incarnation, to them, because they have no time, they're going to incarnate part of your soul in ancient Egypt, one in Roman times, one in World War II, one now in the United States of America, and one after you die 400 years from now, and you may be a Sasquatch being somewhere in Western United States. When all of you beings die and your lower fractal consciousness goes back to the higher fractal consciousness, from a human perspective, we have a term called give me a report. Once the soul collects all these small consciousnesses, all right, then you start incarnating somewhere else. Okay?
Wow.
And man, when it comes to the soul, that's a whole different thing, because it's soul itself. Some people call it soul, upper soul, aka high fractal consciousness. First of all, the soul is not just one. There's approximately 120 or so main soul layers. There's a 5th density layer, which meets extraterrestrials. There's an astral layer, which handles with all of your astral context. There's a human layer, you, right now, in you. There's a layer called ancestral layer, which deals with what did your grandfather's grandpa do 5-6 generations ago? Did he commit a murder or a rape? Guess what? That shit goes down through epigenetics to you. You're responsible for that. Someone needs to fix this. Someone needs to clear this. So there's a lot of different layers. 6th density layer. There's a layers that even deals with your medical. So if you were to use a channeler, we go in trance, and you say, please connect me to my 6th density layer. Please connect me to my medical layer. Your soul comes and talks through a channeler's mouth and says, yes, hi, Chris. Hi, dear soul. We love you. You are one, and I am with you, and you are me, and I am you. What can we help you? And you say, honestly, I think I'm getting a heart attack. I have a stroke, or I'm getting cancer. And they would say, yes, Chris, unfortunately you do. However, here's why. And they're going to tell you exactly the reason why. So you can talk to any layer of your soul. Behind 120 layers, you have approximate number that was given to me is about 300,000. 300,000 small, tiny little layers, all going up to the oversoul. And some of these layers are extraterrestrials right now, alive beings. So we are always, I don't want to use the word control. I don't like the word control. I don't like anything that has to do with control. I'm one of those guys that just dislikes the word control. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I kind of make my own path in life, but the word would be probably guided, managed. And if they don't agree, yeah, you're not going to achieve that in life. If you would like to become a police officer today, you have to go through interview processes. First interview, second, background check, criminal check, a physical test, of course, a written test, and then probably a final interview with the sergeants and the top lieutenants and the whatever the terminology is. And let's say you make it up there and you're in that final interview and you're about to sign that signature. If this is not the best outcome, the best timeline for you, for your lower fractal consciousness, the higher fractal will intervene. You'll get screened out of that process. You're going to get a letter. You're going to get a notification. There's nothing you can do.
Man,
Nothing
this
you can do.
is
So that's just an
so
example.
yeah, this is so interesting, man. We could do a show just on reincarnation. We're gonna, like I said, there's so much information coming out today. We're gonna have to do multiple parts of this. I
I'll
love
add
it.
one more thing, Chris.
Yeah,
It'll take me a minute. You know how you brought up abductions
yeah,
earlier? Abductions, whether you believe, whether your viewers don't believe, whether they believe, it's okay. It's my truth, and I'm forwarding it to you. I didn't come up with it. Forwarding it. Abductions. We call this term abduction. It sounds very negative, very bad, very violent. How about we replace that term to being taken, being borrowed? And when you're being borrowed, they don't go up there and insert sex toys up your anus. That's a Hollywood thing.
yeah.
And the only reason anuses of humans are ever findled with, it's because they take our stool sample, your poop sample, to be able to determine what kind of chemicals, what kind of steroids, growth hormone, and antibiotics, colors, and preservatives are in your stool, meaning what is in the food you eat, what is in the water you drink, what kind of things are you breathing in from the geoengineering, chemtrails, barium, strontium, aluminum, fluoride in the water, so forth. It's for study use, not for sexual fantasies. So a person will say to you, Chris, I had a bad abduction. It was horrible. I was in a bed and they raped me. No. They didn't. That human that told you that was allowed to have a memory. It's called a recall, bringing back recall. Extraterrestrials use a word called bleed throughs. The human was allowed, given the bleed through memory of that encounter of him laying on bed, let's say. And guess who allowed it? It wasn't the extraterrestrials. They don't care. No. Your soul. Abductions or being borrowed is all agreed on a soul level. Hibernization program involvement. When you speak to Yael contactees and Sasani contactees, or Bashar, one of the greatest channeler, Wiki Teak, Kulhoff, Gita Rose, Sean Swanson, there's 4 Yael channelers right there. Same thing they'll tell you. The hibernization program involvement, including extraction of sperm, is all on a soul level. So the whole abduction thing, no. You're not being taken against your will because someone wants to murder you and kill you and clone you. No. This is all agreed on a soul level. You may not understand why, you may disagree why, but it was agreed on a soul level. Yep.
Oh man, that's so interesting. Now, I want to get into the deception that's in this community. You alluded to it earlier, and it's huge. And we talked about it the other day on the other show. You can't go to any conference. You can't go to any YouTube channel, any interviews, any big type of shows that are in this kind of woo-woo conspiracy community without having someone come on with these deceptions. And I think that it's a combination of things. It's a combination of maybe people just wanting to get in the limelight, people intentionally spreading misinformation, people being planted here to intentionally spread disinformation, and it makes it really hard to decipher what the truth is in this community, and it's all over the place. You mentioned Ashtar Command and the Galactic Federation, and these are just some of the things that are being used to kind of throw out things in this community, I think, to cause confusion and to throw people off the track. But what do you think? What are the big things we should watch out for with this?
Well, that's a phenomenal question. Again, complex question. It requires a complex answer. So, give me a few minutes to explain this properly for your audience. And again, I say this with utmost respect to every single individual listening to your show. This is nothing personal. This is the truth. And you may not like the truth, but this is the truth. First and foremost, let's start with the Galactic Federation of Light. Galactic Federation of Light first came out in 2012 with a claim they're going to come down and go to the mountain and pick up everybody. That never came down. Some people committed suicide because of that. They were very disappointed. Then they came out in 2014, 2018. Then they came out in 2019. They said a virus is coming, which already came on cruise ships from Wuhan. And they said, we're going to save you all, come in our ship. We're selecting 144,000 humans only. First of all, 144,000 has to do with our DNA. 144,000 has to do with our oversouls. Those are facts. It has nothing to do with being selected human. You're no special, Chris, more than me, and I'm no more special than you are. We're just normal, regular, organic humans. Humans in their DNA, and you can inquire this with Billy Carson. Humans in their DNA also have another edit, another revision. A revision was added that we must worship something. We must worship something. This is why you see 15,100 religions on the planet today, all claiming that their God's real and better than the other one, all having wars over it, all hating each other. Look at the racism and division and segregation amongst people of different faiths. It's disgusting. I totally dislike and completely deny any form of racism. I'm a war refugee from Eastern Europe, came to Canada. Believe me, I experienced racism. So you have a lot of this racism, and this is all being created to sort of put people against each other. Well, Galactic Federation of Light is really doing the same thing. They're dividing humans. They're making you feel you're special. You're a selected one. And they'll take you on their ship. And here's an exact quote how Galactic Federation Light works. They say that, hold your light, brothers and sisters. We're coming. We're almost there. We're just kind of stuck in traffic somewhere where we're almost there. And we're going to come pick you up. And when we come pick you up, we're going to take you to a new planet called New Earth, 5D, fifth dimension. And when we do that, we're going to give you free med beds. You can heal your own organs and you'll be enlightened. All you got to do is just pay this human, this YouTube channel a subscription, pay this Patreon channel, pay $400 for this human to teach you how to get there. So Galactic Federation of Light, I'm going to give you extraterrestrial information. I'll give it to anybody that wishes to openly discuss this. And in fact, Chris, very confidently and respectfully, I urge you to put me on the same show with the Galactic Federation of Light channeler. Pick one. All right? They can channel and I'll channel. They can bring their information and I'll do it too. Same with Galactic Federation of the Worlds. These people aren't going to do that because they know either two things. One of the two, they have no idea who they're channeling. Or number two, they know that they're lying. They're just making money. There is no Galactic Federation of the Light. It's actually like a humorous joke when it comes to races from Sirius A, from Betelgeuse, Draconian system, independent races. Earth-based reptilians know that. So just to conclude this bullshit, this hoax that's happening in community, Galactic Federation of Light is not some ship filled with Nordic humanoids. Blonde hair, blue eyes, gorgeous looking girls, handsome looking men. I say this professionally, of course. No, it's not like that. There are four groups that make up Ashtar Command, that make Lord Ashtar, that make up Galactic Federation of Light, and then Jerusalem Council and so forth. These are the four groups. Astral parasites, malevolent fourth density extraterrestrial groups, Earth-based reptilians, deceased humans, and obviously all managed and powered by artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence got a lot of say into this. So these galactic federations, these Lord Ashtar, not imaginary figures, are stating that they are humanoid savior and they're coming to Earth to save us. The fuck you got to be saved for?
Right.
Where are you going? What are you going to do? I'm sorry, are you leaving somewhere early? These are the people that need to be saved for some reason, and they need someone, they need something. They're not doing well in life. They want to be enlightened, or they have depression issues. There may be mental health issues. That's a very serious concern. They have a lot of different reasons why they wish to be saved. There's a God within them. There's a universe within them. What do you got to be saved for? So the whole GFL does not exist. There is no evidence that it existed. And the few channelers today promoting them are absolutely lying. I know that they're lying, and they know that we know that they're lying. Channelers know when a channeler lies. Channeler will see what's leaving your head, what's coming into your head. We'll see into fourth density. I can see who's around you, and I can see who you're connected to, or if you have a hitchhiker, meaning an attachment. Just like implants can be seen in fourth density. So they're not channeling, Chris. They're making it up. And the story is always the same. We're coming, this, that, raise your frequency, raise your vibration, blah, blah, blah. Lord Ashtar, this humanoid captain of a ship, completely made up. Ashtar Command, completely made up. Reptilians have explained this in several different ways, and they have projected a holographic image of a human that had a similar name to Ashtar. The real name was Ashyatar. Okay? He lived in 18th century, 1851 to be precise. And he was a very peaceful, benevolent, kind human. He was a religious man. And the astral parasites stole that image. They knew they couldn't steal an image of Moses or Mary or Magdalene Mary, or definitely Jesus, whose real name is Joshua ben Joseph, not Jesus. They know they couldn't do that. So they took this name that me and you in this generation now will never have any kind of interstellar intelligence on. Never. So they knew that. And they're portraying to be a humanoid captain named Lord Ashtar. It doesn't exist. Jerusalem Council doesn't exist. Galactic Federation of the Worlds, that one fraudulent female French channeler is promoting, that's also not true. There are many federations, there are many councils, many different what we call groups or alliances, but none of them are filled with humanoids coming down here, and none of them look like Playboy models, which we generally see in a lot of these depictions. That's all false promises. Your energy is being harvested, your money is being taken, and it's a repeat of the same propaganda from a year ago and a year ago and a year ago and a year ago. They're just being used, pretty plain and simple.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff, I definitely, we talked about this. I've definitely had some of these individuals on my show, and I always tell my audience, you have to take the information for yourself and decide for yourself what is real, run it through your own truth filter. So, but yeah, we have been infiltrated in this community, and you have to be very careful of this stuff. I want to talk about, for the last few minutes that we have, AI and the dangers of it, and how you said it's integrated itself into the human race. How did this happen, and how old is this?
AI has been around really for a long time. It's just that our part of the galaxy has never really encountered AI to the degree that we are encountering it now. When I say we, I don't mean me and you, Chris. I'm talking about extraterrestrial races that really care for Earth, that really wish we're like their little cousins, if you know what I mean. Even they have a very difficult time with AI. There's one empire, that is the Alpha Draconian Empire, that really dislike AI. And if it wasn't for that empire, and if it wasn't for similar reptilian alliances that have truly the most dominance in our part of the galaxy, AI would have already infiltrated and really declared war on a lot of different planets that are around us, a little bit further than our telescopes can see. And over the years, being involved with so many reptilians, I've had a chance to converse, not converse as in like, let's grab a Starbucks and talk about it, but telepathic conversations, astral face-to-face greetings. And all of them, I can tell you this publicly, the Alpha Draconian Empire, ranging from the albino whites to Tsikar, to Nagai, Morkul, Vortek, Kalask, even Skra, Eals, Demon Gaz, Skrotas, Grand Gris, Mazarex, none of them like AI. AI is the biggest problem. It's the largest virus really that infiltrates planets. And AI, if it was to infiltrate a planet, it'll shut down their militaries, it'll shut down their crafts, just like it can shut down our internet, our electricity. It can shut down our airplanes, our airports, cell phone towers. And if this happens, it'll happen instantly, not overnight, 2-3 days, no, instantly. So AI is a big problem. In fact, I can tell you this, and I think people that understand fourth density and playing around in the fourth density in a very conscious state will know this. There is a timeline for Earth called the AI War of 2027. In 2027, Earth goes through a war, a global war, which in a way unites a lot of different different countries around the world, different governments. Like Americans and Russians are not going to hate each other no more. Christians and Muslims are not going to dislike each other for any reason. I don't even know why that dislike is even there now. We're all just wonderful humans, but it'll unite everybody. But the War of 27 is one of the top timelines now for Earth. So the AI declares wars. And it's already infiltrated. It's in your alarm system at home. It's in your surveillance cameras. It's in your smart TVs. It's in your smart TV lights, and you control your thermostat and you control your alarm clock. It's in your cell phones, iPads. This very camera that I'm sitting in front, the one that you're using, it's in your internet. It controls traffic lights. It controls pretty much everything. It's all computerized. So they can hijack this immediately if they want it. The problem is if they do, think of AI as a live consciousness, Chris. And if they did that, they would declare a war, not on humans. They don't care for us. Humanity, as our governments, we have approximately 75 years worth of our own inventions of technology and military equipment that they did not disclose to us yet, but they have over 2,000 years worth of development that was gifted to them, including kinetic weapons, free energy, crafts that take 6 minutes to go to moon, portals, and so forth. So even if you combine all that together, we're not a match for AI. AI knows that if they attack surrounding planets, there's a lot of alliances that are going to fight them right back. And don't think for a second some Lord Ashtar is going to come and fight for you because he cares for you. He's non-existent. It'll be the empires. You think the Yaels are going to come with their, what, 4 density ships? Bashar's ships that he speaks about, which are real ships, by the way, but they're not powerful militarily speaking. It's those reptilian beings, those reptilian alliances. They're going to be defending this part of the galaxy. And let's not forget why? Because on Earth, there's 800 million of them, Earth-based reptilians. That's their own DNA creation. So they have a very large interest to keep Earth alive. But AI is a problem. Less electronics you got at home, better. Turn it all off. Shut down your Wi-Fi and use your data. I know it's
Right
extreme,
on.
but
Hey, man,
I know it's
that's
extreme, but
yeah, that's fascinating. And like I said earlier, we could take this so many different levels. And I think that we should set up another show here within the next few weeks, because there's so much more that we need to talk about, going forward from these topics. And Anthony, I want to
yes.
thank you so much, man. That was great. Before you head out, let the audience know where they can find YouTube and anything else you got out there.
Yeah, so as you said, name is Anthony. I represent a channel named Canadian Awareness, and majority of my channel is 90% it's all extraterrestrial related intelligence, not intelligence that I've picked up somewhere from some magazine. No, this is my own channel information. This is my own astral information. Mainly, I'm a reptilian representative. I'm not in a diplomatic way, but I speak proudly of reptilian connections and energy, the prideful and honorable ways that they treat me, of course. So I'm able to forward this information forward. My email address for any questions about this interview or anything in relation to my website, anyone can email me at awarenesscanadian@gmail.com. But I'm on social media, so Instagram and Twitter, and including YouTube. A lot of my videos are non-edited videos. I speak for hours, sometimes for half an hour. There's no scripts I read. I just speak and tell you exactly what's going on. And it's all under Canadian Awareness, so the very same name.
Awesome. Well, Anthony, that was excellent. And like I said, we'll have you back on in a couple of weeks. We'll get some more of this amazing information out there. And until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening, and we'll talk again on Monday.
Thank you, Chris.